So the new Spider-Man game is still like 10 days away as of right now making this video, and I had no clue what game to try and platinum next before that. So I went over to the award-winning section of the PlayStation Plus game catalog and fell onto this game called Death Stranding. Now I'm not sure what award this game won, but after playing it for the past 3 days straight, I can safely say it's definitely for the best mailman game simulator ever made. There's a total of 63 trophies available in Death Stranding, with the average playtime to get coming in at around 100 hours. And Lord have mercy, probably more than half of that is just cutscenes and dialogue from this amazing thing that Hideo Kojima has bestowed upon us. I decided to play in hard mode so I could attempt to feel something again in this game. Death Stranding starts by giving us a cool presentation on the rejected Windows background screens and also shows us the credits for the game for the first time, but pay attention because we will see those many more times throughout. We then get to see the main character you will play as. His name is Sam, or if you prefer, the guy from the Walking Dead show. He gets a little itty bitty drop of rain on his head, and it shows his hair change color. This is what we call aging. And in this universe of boring gameplay, the rain causes you to age drastically. It even does the same thing to materials and basically everything else. So we then jet out of the area on our cool little bike, and all the animals do the same, except for the poor deer who didn't make the jump and died. And we also hit an epic jump. But the fun ended when this dumb woman shows up in the middle of our path and causes us to crash. Even insurance fraud is still in the post-apocalypse. I can't believe this. We then actually got to play the game, which is weird because I could have sworn already that it was just a movie I was watching before. Anyways, I immediately got exposed to the real world because I slipped and fell off of a cliff. Let's just say I was not expecting this game to have a system where you need to balance yourself every time you run. So already, I love this game. Also, apparently the main character guy can't die, and you get this super weird ass cutscene which brings him back to life every time. It's low-key disturbing, but I've seen worse. Like your mom. Eventually, we made it to a cave and are trying to take shelter from the bad storm, but the invisible monsters show up and crawl all around us. I'm not sure what the heck kind of creature it even is, but I'm convinced it's just a walking hand. So how much harm could it really even do? Also, that weird-ass blonde girl showed up, and she got on some goofy Halloween costume that I really want to touch for some reason. A few seconds later, the storm passes, and it's so beautiful we shed a tear. And we begin the prologue to the game's story called Porter. That weird girl then tries to rizz us up for a hot minute until Sam tells her he isn't interested whatsoever. And we then get to actually play the game again. The first objective is to finish off whatever Sam was doing before the storm, and that was to run all the way to the city nearby and deliver some cargo they need. So I literally just ran for 6 minutes until I got there, which is basically the sum of this entire game's gameplay. It's definitely award worthy already, I can tell. Anyways, once you drop off the first order, it gives you a trophy. And this lady is mad at you for taking so long. But I explained to her that just because it's her time of the month doesn't mean she gets to be mean to me for no reason. And then you get like a combat summary of the delivery and another trophy for some odd reason. A super goofy looking car just rolls up, and then the guy in it explains to us that he needs help delivering a body to the incinerator. Just for a little background info, any person who dies in this game will basically blow up 2 days after, and they call it a void out. I still don't get why this happens, but it does. So we then join the boys on a little ride through the wild. Sadly, the boys' trip is cut short when the body begins to leak darkness, and it also starts to storm again, and the monsters come back. Homeboy in the front really didn't know what he was doing, and then we crashed. Waking up to the horror of reality, and we see basically everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And it continues to get worse as the driver is being sucked in basically and gets dragged away. But our friend shot him dead to stop it, I guess, which, I mean, okay. And then the final boss just shows up out of the sky to brag about how much he just defeated us. And as fast as he came, he went. Gotta love a man who gets the job done and goes, so I can't complain. This giant monster just appeared, and I'm pretty sure he set off a nuke or something, but Sam woke up on a beach completely nude, so it could always be worse.
That's what I'm saying.
That was a dream, obviously, and we are indeed dead. But we can come back, and when we do, there's another cutscene with some memories of this guy, who we see a lot of during this game. Sam is back to life, and we see what kind of damage just happened, and it's quite impactful, I would say so myself. Sam then wakes up again in a completely different place, and I'm honestly already lost. I can't even tell what's real or not anymore. But this guy in that weird red shirt is sort of our friend and guide the entire game. The next mission, however, we have to deliver another body to the incinerator because the President of the United States died. And sadly, no, it wasn't Sleepy Joe. It was instead this girl named Bridget, who was Sam's quote-unquote mom. Except he's adopted, so yeah. Nonetheless, this mission really opened my eyes already to the kind of game I'm about to torture myself with. And honestly, I wish I could just quit here, but I didn't, so that's great. Pretty much every 5 steps or so, Sam loses his balance, and you have to correct it with the L2 and R2 triggers, which isn't that bad, but after doing it for like 10 minutes straight, it's just awful. I did get a trophy though for liking another player's construction thing. I don't understand how these work, but I guess some structures from other people drift into your world also to help you. I also tried to take the most direct path to the incinerator incinerator, which is nicely placed atop of a mountain. So I did a ton of really horrible climbing to get there, and it took forever to do. But I finally made it up, and we get a ton of cutscenes like usual. This game is literally just a movie with breaks in between to let you deliver packages. I have no words to describe how this makes me feel.
Oh my god!
After we threw that lady in the World War II chamber, however, a giant storm appeared right above us, and we had to sneak out of it. We also got introduced to the BB baby, which is this little baby in that container thing. Basically, they can see the monsters and help you not get eaten by them. So the objective is to just get past them without being seen. I failed. And then I failed again. But if you just run down the mountain, you can get away pretty easily because even the monsters aren't dumb enough to try and climb down that. We also got to see a cool feature called Soothing BB. You need to do this whenever the dumb baby is losing his mind. And it's done the right way by just calmly moving your controller up and down. But I sort of went off the rail a little bit and just shook my controller as hard as possible, and the game really didn't seem to care. So a W game. Anyways, we made it back to the city, and I got a trophy for beating the mission. We then had to watch, I kid you not, 20 minutes of cutscenes about the game's lore, which I can't even remember and don't understand to begin with. But when I was finally allowed to play again, I was just messing around in the menus and found the music section and played a random song, which gave me a trophy. We then watch even more cutscenes and get the main game's mission. Sam needs to go to all the outposts left in America and get them integrated into the chiral network of the UCA, which is pretty much just the USA, I assume. And he does this by delivering to all these locations to get on their good side. So basically we're playing a mail delivery game. Honestly, if they gave this game to the entry-level FedEx drivers as an introduction course, I wouldn't be surprised because that's exactly how I feel playing it. It's literally a 9-to-5 mailman job as a game. Anyways, I got a trophy after the half an hour of cutscenes we just watched for building something for the first time, and another right after that for peeing, which you can actually do manually in this game. I love the priorities of the developers so far. Cutscenes for hours on end and peeing mechanics. Now I see why it won an award, it all makes sense now. So like I've said, we are a mailman, and I ran out on my 9-to-5 to go do my first real-world job. And after I reached the place and put that necklace thing into the building's mainframe, we got a trophy for getting them connected to the network. I then got a trophy after for putting an item into this postbox thing, which I guess can be used with the online services to get items from other people and stuff. The 9-to-5 continued, and I ran into a super annoying rainstorm, which I'm convinced the only reason they have these happen so much is to elongate the game's runtime, because it will be way too short without it since it's literally the only thing separating this game from being a survival horror to a job simulator. Kind of like how the only thing separating your mom and dad is their affair. But anyways, I got a trophy for doing another delivery, and it was because I got my bridge link up to level 1, which I still don't know what that even is. We then got a cool little cutscene where we shoved the baby into the wall and charged it up like a damn Tesla Model X, and then continued the 9-to-5. Whilst on the job, I accidentally pressed on the little pad thing and apparently called out to my father, who isn't there, and got a trophy. Later on in the same mission, we actually got to see real enemies for the first time. Now this game thankfully does have some action in it, but it's funny because you're not even allowed to use real guns or anything to kill these people, since that will cause them to blow up, and that's bad. So instead, we just punched the guy a little bit until he passed out, and stole all of his belongings, and ran away. Now, if that ain't Detroit, I don't know what is. I then finished the delivery and got 2 trophies for reasons which I can't explain. I then put on some boots and got a trophy also. We then continued the 9-to-5 again and actually had a mission which didn't involve us delivering mail. Instead, we had to pick flowers in the rain, which was great and it gave me 2 more trophies. And then apparently that dumb baby strapped onto me was happy, and the baby even gave me a trophy. I gotta say, this might be the most trophies I've ever gotten in like a span of 30 minutes. But that all fell apart in this next delivery since it was very far away and not much happened aside from me nearly being eaten alive by the ground right in front of my objective. And even after I reached that place, I then had to go all the way back to where I just came from to get the next trophy from that mission. We then had a super long delivery after that, and I got a trophy from it once I finished it. And finally, after like 4 hours of delivery nonsense, we get a full-on fight scene with that final boss guy from the game's intro. This fight was pretty fun, but the only weapon I had was a grenade, so it just consisted of me throwing that over and over until the thing finally died and I got a trophy from the fight, obviously. And another right after from my combat report leveling up my skills. We then get to take a boat ride to the next region of America because why not? And this place is basically the same as the last, except with way worse and more annoying terrain to travel on, and it's bigger. So it pretty much just takes a lot longer to do everything, and there's way more places we need to get online, which also adds to the length of this area. I also got given an absurd amount of items on a few of these missions, which looked very goofy when trying to run with them. However, they did add in roads in this area in some spots, which makes it so much easier and faster when trying to deliver these packages. And I got a trophy after helping build one of the roads. And another like 2 hours later after doing a ton more deliveries. I then didn't get many trophies for a while, but there was this one mission which had us deliver this girl back to her long-lost boyfriend. And then they had a super nice reunion, but funnily enough, later on we get mail that says they broke up, and the dude lets us know how much he hates her. I also at some point found this giant truck thing which made long trips with cargo a lot easier since I could take more than 4 steps and not eat the dirt and wish I was stronger and not a 5'10" beta. I then got a trophy for doing some more deliveries and finishing the 4th episode of the game. Right after this, however, we got sent into a literal war zone, and I swear to God, if you told me this was the newest Call of Duty's attempt to diversify, I would have believed it. So we went from FedEx ground transportation to 3rd Infantry World War I in a matter of seconds. And this mission was honestly the most fun part of the game so far. It's weird how when you actually give an action sequence in a game instead of just walking in a field, how much more entertaining it can be. Anyways, the objective is to basically do trench warfare until you fight this guy who keeps on appearing in your dreams at night. Kinda weird since I'm not into dudes and I'm dreaming about a dude, but it's alright since we neutralized the threat and got a trophy for it. So now we are in the last area of the game, I think. Honestly, I don't even know. This game's story is so weird.
Retard or what?
But we had this one mission where we needed to deliver this girl to her twin sister who was conveniently enough on the complete opposite side of the map, and we had to go around numerous mountains to get there. Also, she can't go in water or she will die, and I fell into water once and had to restart. In total, this one delivery took me an hour and a half to do since I kept on failing due to the dumbest things. But once the retard was delivered, we got like 2 trophies for doing it, and I don't even care anymore about this game. It has officially lost me, it's so bad. And actually, yes, this is the final area of the game, and it's awful. Nearly every mission has you drive up and down these super steep snowy mountains which have nearly no areas to climb onto, and it simply just made me want to die, like more than usual. But we eventually made it to this cabin which had that kind of fat dude in it, and it gave us a trophy, and then it teleported us yet again into the war. And we did the exact same thing as the last time we were overseas. After fighting that dude and then talking to him a little bit, we got another trophy. I then completed another episode for a trophy, and we had this absolutely giant boss fight with the game's main villain, which I gotta say was a ton of fun. These combat sections are great when they happen, but they only occurred like every 5 hours or so when playing the game. So that sort of ruins it for me, but this was a lot of fun, and it was kind of hard, but they give you so many weapons to use that it made it pretty easy. And after we beat it, we then completed another episode for a trophy, and it sort of fell into the ending of the game. It's hard to really say when this starts or ends because the game's ending lasts around 2 hours because of all the damn cutscenes in it. Like, I kid you not, you basically just watch cutscenes over and over. But we did get to do this funny fight thing with the boss guy at the end where we just punch him over and over and then headbutt him to let out all of our anger. So that was fun until the girl from the beginning shows up and very awkwardly punches him in the face and gave us a trophy after whatever the hell that was. And then it's epic cutscene time, yay. Actually, this wasn't even the long one yet. Instead, it threw us back into the game and has us travel across the entire map just to get to the ending of the game. Also, this took me 40 minutes to do because traveling 6 kilometers in this game takes so damn long. It's almost funny how bad it is. Like, when I was playing this, I couldn't even believe it was a real game. It's just so goofy how this is considered good. I understand some people like this game a lot, and I'm not saying it's overall a piece of ass, but the gameplay itself is just god-awful in my opinion. The story is amazing, honestly, and it's super in-depth, unlike anything I've ever seen, but that doesn't matter when the actual gameplay is like playing with white dog. In fact, I'd rather lick white dog than spend another 40 hours delivering packages for and giggles. Anyways, back to the story. We reached the destination finally, and shocker, cutscene. And after that ended, we got a trophy. We then watched some more cutscenes and get thrown into another war mission. Like, okay dude, it was fun once, but twice was pushing it. And then 3 times, that's just ridiculous. And we didn't even kill the guy. He just gave us a little hug and then teleported out of our lives just like your father did. And another cutscene and trophy. After that, we got some more cutscenes like usual, and then got to actually do a fun thing. Oh my god, I know, a shocker. But we fought this giant whale-looking creature that can fly and shit. Fun fight, not gonna lie, and it gave us a trophy after all for a little cherry on top. Oh, and actually, this is where the 2 hours of cutscenes and occasional gameplay takes place, so we were a little bit off, but anyways, yeah. I just sort of sat and witnessed the lights on the screen come into my eyes for a few hours. We also ended up in a purgatory which played credits and took about 40 minutes to get through, so we had lots of time to write down our 13 reasons why, and in fact, if you didn't have a piece of paper to do that on, you could probably drive to the store and make it back in time with paper while this was still going. And after that, a trophy popped, and then we get to watch even more cutscenes. And then we've reached the last mission of the main story, which was to deliver BB to the incinerator since it's like dead or something, I don't even care. But we then got to watch even more fucking cutscenes, and I'm just more confused than ever. And I also had to pee really bad during all these, but I didn't want to miss any trophies or pause it, so I endured the pain and agony in real life for quite some time. And even after the game ends and we see the game title again, the credits roll for like the 4th time. I kid you not, we have seen all these people's names already. Like, for fuck's sake, they already got paid for making the game. I don't care who did it. This game is an overdeveloped dry fart. And those credits themselves lasted another 10 minutes before another cutscene to end the game happened. And finally, I got the trophy for beating the story. Lord have mercy, that was probably the most boring game I've ever played, while at the same time having a good story. I don't even know anymore. And the rest of the Platinum Trophy is basically just you delivering an absurd amount of packages for the entirety of the game. In fact, it's so boring, I'm not even gonna bother wasting any more time writing out the rest of this video and trying to make it entertaining, because I simply cannot anymore. I literally hate this game for how boring it is. I didn't even want to make this video because of how little I like the story, but it is what it is, I guess.